Angry Birds Seasons, Angry Birds Star Wars, Angry Bird Go, all these massive games. Why would the creator want them wiped out from the face of Earth? Let's find out. Angry Birds, one of the most popular, well-known mobile franchises of all time with over 4 billion total downloads and counting. 29 games, 2 movies, merchandise, and theme parks. Yes, plural, theme parks. Like other games discovered. Plants vs Zombies. So, Angry Birds has been through a pretty rough patch these last couple of years while being extremely profitable for Rovio. Times have changed. And let's understand how this fall from once greatness happened. Rovio was in bankruptcy at the start of 2009. Therefore, the employees started looking for prospective game possibilities. One of these ideas was presented by senior game designer Jacko Lizolo. Perfect. Form of a simulated snapshot showing several angry-looking birds without legs or wings. The crew loved the characters, so the team decided to create a game around them, even though the image offered no indication of the sort of game that was going to be played. The Rovio team was inspired by a physics game that was a popular flash-based web game in the early parts of 2009, so Crush the Castle. The team working on Angry Birds required a foe while the game was being created. The swine flu epidemic was in the news at the time. So the staff turned the foes of the birds into pigs. The 50-second game the studio made, Angry Birds, did not sell a lot of copies when it was first released. The top spot of the paid application ranking in the US App Store was attained by Angry Birds in the middle of 2010, 275 days after it first debuted as a featured app on the UK App Store in February 2010, and swiftly rose to the top there. Without accounting for the cost of further upgrades, it was projected that the initial development cost of Angry Birds would approximately be 100,000 euros. Rovio collaborated with the distributor Shilingo to distribute the game to the App Store for the iOS version. In the final refining of the game, Shilingo claims to have added visible trajectory lines, pinch to zoom, pig groans, and birds somersaulting on landing. With the exception of the PSP version, which was created under the contraction with Extraction Games, Rovio has since self-published particularly all of the games on later ports. In the game, the player launches the Angry Birds from a slingshot at a pig fortress containing the bag piggies who stole their eggs. 7 flock members debut in the game: Red, the Blues, Chuck, Bomb, Matilda, Hal, and Terrence. While 2 others, Bubbles and Stella, migrate from an indirect sequel, Angry Birds Season. 6 types of pigs also appear, including the 3 sizes of pigs, along with the Corporal, Foreman, and the King Pigs. There are over 700 levels in the game, spanning over 17 episodes, along with the golden eggs scattered across the game that the player can find.
Angry Birds Seasons was the second game released in 2010, a full year after the release of Angry Birds original, and it was basically a game where the levels are themed around the holidays such as the first day of school, Halloween, Christmas, and Easter. Angry Birds Space, 2012 March. The 5th game of the series features planets, different gravities, and Angry Birds with improved abilities, introducing us to characters such as
Super Red, Lightning Birds, and Space Bomb all have the exact same abilities as do they in the original, also known as Red, the Blues, and Bomb.
Angry Birds Star Wars, November 2012. 6th game ties into the original Star Wars trilogy: Star Wars, The Empire Strikes Back, and Return of the Jedi. Angry Birds Star Wars 2, 2013, September. The 7th game of the series ties into the Star Wars prequel trilogy: Phantom Menace, Attack of the Clones, Revenge of the Sith. It also ties into the television show Star Wars Rebels. It was the first game collateral with the Hasbro's telepads that allows the player to summon a specific character in the game. Angry Birds Go, December 2013, Racing. The game takes on a form of a racing game similar to Mario Kart 8. Angry Birds Epic, June 2014. The 9th game of the series turned into RPG combat and an equipment system. Once Rovio started to see a growing trend in games going in the Candy Crush type of game, tile matching and filled with microtransactions and ads, they decided after the release of the Angry Bird movie to dedicate all the studio's time and effort to produce more games, a lot less quality, therefore milking the franchise and oversaturating the Angry Birds franchise with terrible games compared to the once great Rovio collection of Angry Bird games. Angry Birds 2, the overdue sequel to the original game, shakes up things and gives us a new art style and new gameplay mechanics, receiving a lot of mixed to positive reviews over these changes. What's new in Angry Birds 2? Multi-segment levels. Unlike its predecessors, each level of Angry Birds 2 has multiple segments, so be wise with your cards you hold in your hand. Once you take down a structure, the level shift right to reveal another tower you'll need to destroy, with some levels having up to 4 different towers or segments. A new challenge every time. In the previous Angry Birds game, the level was always the same whether you started it. A new challenge every time. In the previous Angry Birds games, the level was always the same whether you started it. Angry Birds 2 changes that by altering the structure of the every time, so you can't just use the same strategy again and again, tweaking it till you get it right. Multiplayer arena. Angry Birds 2 lets you compete in an online leaderboard in an arena which have endless levels that keep you playing until you run out of cards. You can be part of different leagues depending on your skill level and by earning feathers rewards each day. It's a nice way of playing a game where if you're stuck on a certain level, or if you want to enjoy some competition. In-app purchases. Angry Birds 2 is free, but well, none in this world is truly free. You have 5 lives at any point, and if you run out, you can purchase extra levels. Otherwise, you will need to wait for your lives to replenish over time. Much like Candy Crush Saga or several other games, you can also purchase crystals using real money and to spend those crystals in game.
So, Rovio in the summer of 2019 decided to take down all games before Angry Birds Transformers, excluding Bad Piggies and Angry Birds Friend. Bad Piggies was taken down, but then it was back up. It got re-unlisted. But initially they said that it was for maintenance, and it was taken down for 2 years before they addressed what really happened. They said in this post, I let the fans that they took it down because it was too much maintenance and it was taking up too much resources, while they could be putting all this resources towards newer games and keeping the new games updated. And the fans didn't really enjoy that. So will all these games come back? Yes, I believe that they will all come back, just like the original one, which was republished a couple of months ago, just for a beautiful fee of €1.19. Yeah, I think most of the games, not all of them, but some of the games will come back with a paywall, dividing you from playing it.